Welcome to part 3 of how to build a folding wine table. In the last video we had drilled the holes in the top so that we could cut out the wine glass holders and the handle. In this video we will cut those out. We will begin to attach the legs and so on. So we're moving along pretty well. And hopefully we'll wrap this up in another video or two. Alright, so the holes are drilled. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to connect the bottoms of these holes so that I can cut out the rest of the handle. Don't want to cut my bench. And I'm trying a new kind of jigsaw blade, so let's see how this does. Oh, that's a nice cut. Nice handle, little rasp and file work, and it'll be perfect. But we're going to round it over so that it's comfortable in the hand. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to use to hold the supports in place is glue and pocket screws. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to drill the pockets in the two supports. And I'm going to put 3 screws in each one. What I did is I put an X on it to mark the inside because I don't want the pocket holes to show when I put this thing together. Okay, so what I've done is I've clamped the first one to the top, and I've also verified that we are perpendicular to the cross line. That is critical for the legs to operate smoothly. I'm going to hope I have enough battery to drive the screws. So I'm just going to pop the screws in and keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't shift. Also going to make sure the screws aren't poking through the other side. They shouldn't, but you never know. And hopefully it didn't shift. It did not. That's one. Do the same on the other side. Alright, at this point we're actually ready to do a test fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a carriage bolt through the leg and a washer on it. passes right through the support. And I have a wing nut. Make it easy to make adjustments. First time I have to tighten that wing down tight enough to pull the carriage bolt into the bolt. And actually the first time it's going to be a lot easier to do it with a regular nut and a ratchet. Good. Now we need to attach the center of the legs. And if you remember, we had put a letter and an arrow which way they have to go, B to B, A to A. So whichever way you want to put the carriage bolt in is entirely up to you. I like to have the end point in so you don't catch the end. If you want on the outside so it's on the same side, totally up to you. You need to push the bolt in, the washer on. Make sure the arrow's pointing towards the leg. Slide the other end over. Another washer. Tighten it up with our nut to draw in the carriage bolt. Now, this tells us a couple of things. We now know how long to make our half-inch dowel. The dowel has to go whatever this width is, which is 7 7 3/16. So I'm going to take my dowel and mark off 7 3/16. Cut it to length. Okay, to cut it to length, I'm going to use my my oldest stationary tool in the shop. It's my 30-year-old Delta bandsaw. That's it. All right, so I'm just going to be able to fit it right in the hole. Out until they're even. Alright, so now we can actually take this, stand it up, and it's not going to be steady because we don't have the cross braces on. But what we're going to be able to do is get an idea of if it's going to stand level, and where it does stand level is where we need to put our catch for this. The table is standing level about here. So what I need to do is I need to cut this piece to width, and it needs to be a little narrower than the piece here. I don't want it to be too narrow or this will slide, but I'm going to make a mark about there. I don't have to be exact, and I'm just going to go over to my little chop saw and cut that off. Alright, so to get it lined up in the correct spot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a preliminary, I've done a preliminary measurement. I found that these back legs are sitting at about 26 off the bottom of the table. The front legs are sitting at about 25 and a half. So the table's going to be pitched. And it doesn't seem to matter which way I go. Half an inch off, which is okay, because what we will do is we will cut an extra half an inch off the other side once we get it where we want it. What I really am shooting for is to get these even. So I'm going to measure off where the pivot point is on the fixed leg, and I'm going to make the center of the dowel at the same point, and that will give me an even pitch. Alright, so the center of the dowel, center of the pivot was 5 1/4 inches from center, so I've set the center of the dowel at 5 1/4 inches. This piece is almost exactly the right height, so I don't have to make too many modifications to this. I am going to clean this up and smooth it out, and we're going to sand it down. But right now, this is where it needs to go. So what I'm going to end up doing is putting pocket holes. Unfortunately, these are going to show, but the pocket holes will hold this in place, and then we'll see how it works. That will about do it for today. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we will move forward in completing the pre-assembly, and then we'll take the whole thing apart and get it finished and finally assembled.